Like it's more fun every single time I play it. Welcome back to Breaking Notes. This is episode 7, that is right. We've made it this far, 7, lucky number. My name is Curtis LaBelle, and we're going to be talking about rehearsals, arrangements, demos. No, that is not at all what we're talking about. We're going to start this all over again, and we're going to keep this as a blooper. That gets more fun every time. Back to the keys. Hi everybody, welcome back to Breaking Notes with your host, myself, Curtis LaBelle. I'm so happy that you have stayed with us along the journey of Breaking Notes as we create a song and bring the community together through music. This is very exciting. We're on episode 7, where we are going to be talking about rehearsals, time management, the musicians you're going to be choosing, and of course getting that demo ready for all of the work that's going to happen in the studio with the producer that you're going to choose to work with. Let's have a quick recap of everything in case you're tuning in for the first time. 1 through 6, this is what we've done. We've talked about form, style, verses, choruses, bridges. We've written lyrics. We've put a melody to it. We've chosen a key. We've picked the chord progression for the verses, the choruses. We've put it all together. We've changed some things. We've developed it. We've rehearsed it. And we have picked our instruments on the arrangement of it. That is exactly what we've done. Now we are going to put it together in the demo form with choosing the instruments we've chosen on the last episode. So let's head on over to the computer where we're going to work with the DAW system that we've chosen. The DAW system is the recording program of choice. I happen to use a program that I've worked with for over almost 20 years now. I'm familiar with it, so I suggest that you use a program that you've worked with before. If not, take some time to educate yourself on a DAW system, a recording program. There's many different ones out there. Do some research on Google, and if not, you can find that local musician friend, or head on down to your local music store and inquire and ask some questions about what may be the best operating system for you to work with a demo program, or record your demo at a friend's place. Then again, that always works as well, because no matter what, community comes in all different shapes and sizes. So let's head on over to the program that I work with and take our song that we've been working on and make a little demo, shall we? Can we do this next demo section at the end? Okay, because I need to hook the computer. Do you have a printer cable?
You'll have to show me.
Just because I need to hook up the computer to the printer, or to the keyboard. So, not a concern. Let's go to the end of this episode where we're just going to recap and talk about the next episode. We'll start on 1. Oh, we'll come back to 2, actually. We'll come back to 2. All right, so what we've done is we've worked with the computer program that I have, and we've put together a little tiny demo with the instruments that we've decided to choose for our pop version, kind of pop rocky, simple accessible song that's uplifting and welcoming for the community. And we've created it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to render that into a quick MP3 or a WAV file, and we're going to go on to the next step, which is going to be episode 8, where we talk about the studio time and the producer we're going to choose to work with. So for your homework right now, if you don't know a producer or exactly what a producer does, do some research on Google. Again, talk to your local musicians, your friends, your family, and do some inquiries and some research and find that producer that you'd like to work with. Until then, do a lot of practicing, keep working on your song. You might even find some changes again in development in the demo or the arrangement. It's ever evolving because it's art. And remember, art brings the community together. My name is Curtis, this is Breaking Notes, and I will see you on episode 8, where we talk about the producer and studio time. Cheers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Breaking Notes with me, your lovely host, Curtis LaBelle. Look at this man right beside me here. He is, he's got a little bit more on the bottom half, but I think we're pretty much the same up top here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Shiv Shanks. He is a phenomenal independent artist, solo artist in our neck of the woods here in central Alberta, where we are coming from. Shiv, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you putting me into the schedule and making this a part of your day. Okay, so I've been taking our viewers and listeners on a journey of writing music and songwriting, and how that process can bring, how art can bring people together, make a community, and extend the life of community, and the cyclical application of how community evolves through music and all that stuff. You are a solo artist, so before I go ahead and pick your brain with some questions, tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you've been playing music and why you play music.
I've been playing music because there was always a guitar laying around the house. And, you know, you kind of get bored and you've tried everything else. You pick up the guitar and give it a little whatever. And most of the time it doesn't sound that great, but you can get something going, you know. And then once you find that chord or two, all of a sudden you kind of got this thing you can do. Nobody else in the house is doing it. There's just guitars around. My grandparents played quite a bit, right? But then they kind of softened on it, and just every once in a while there's the guitar. And there was also this Stratocaster that my grandpa bought in 1962 that was always, my parents were always, that's your inheritance, you know. So there was always this like kind of pressure to have to play the guitar, right, to get this inheritance that was promised me. In the end of the time, my mom ended up buying it off my grandpa. Now she's sitting on it. I'm not even allowed to see it. So anyway, so I learned to play the guitar for nothing. But in the meantime, it's funny because if I would have known how much work it had been from the start to now, I would have never picked up the guitar, or I would have put it down right away.
Yeah. Because
it's like I can't look at things like the process of baby crawls and then he walks and stuff. It's just I just want to jump up and start running, you know. And it took so long, but it's because it was always there, and I just kept going to it. It kind of eventually it became my thing, and it started to sound good, you know. Or it's like even if I only had a limited amount of places I could put my fingers on the fretboard that sounded good, I could figure out different ways of playing it, or I had a certain kind of something that kept it like, yeah, I'm entertaining myself now.
Nice.
And I've got all these words. When I turned 13 or 14, something in my brain snapped, and I started just like writing down like 12 pages of verse that was like all this rhyming stuff that was like I was using words that I didn't even know what they meant. I had to ask adults like, what is this? And it's like it always was what it was supposed to be. And it almost felt like the next universe was whispering in my ear. So it's like I felt like it was my duty to write all this stuff down. Mm-hmm. And it was like I tried to get it as close to what was being pushed at me as I could get it. Like I was almost doing somebody a favor, and I wanted to get it right for them. And so for years I took down these notes and wondered where they came from, and just thought about it. And then after a while, I kind of realized I'm in control. I don't have to worry about where this is coming from, even if it is just in my own brain. Yeah. I have to kind of feel like it's another worldly thing. I have to feel like I'm chosen for this, right? So it's like, so once I realized I'm in charge, then things started to get really good, because it's like a lot of that Victorian poetry, 12 pages, and trying to, you know, find something you can play that to and recite all this stuff with no repeats and stuff. It was like, it didn't lend itself to songs as much as taking that and whittling it, all the parts out of it. They're like, that's just, the rhyme scheme continued here. I don't need all this. I take the ones that are good, get rid of the extra lines, but I have them. So when I can carve it down into something much more condensed. Like if you start with toothpicks and you start trying to carve them, you wind up with just more toothpicks that are smaller. If you start with something huge and you whittle it down, eventually you've got so much to work with. Once you do condense it, if you can put in the work and just keep chiseling that thing, eventually you got what you want, because you started with enough that it didn't evaporate in the first place.
Well, I think it's safe to say we ask one question and we get the 5 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. No. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, Shiv, because you're such an in-your-face artist. You are, when you're on stage, you're powerful, you're electrifying, you are a force because you are a man of many instruments. You're playing, you have your whole ensemble is all yourself. Your kick drum, your hats, your guitar, your mic, which is built right into your guitar. If you haven't seen if you haven't seen Shiv, maybe go do so. It's great. But as when it comes to scheduling and commitment for you as an artist, you're not hiring other musicians because you are writing it all on a one-man band. You're the new version of that band, the guy that's stomping and walking at a circus or something, right? You're a whole package deal. So you're not looking for other musicians to hire to come and play the instruments for you. So when do you get frustrated not being able to do what you want as your own self as a musician? And how do you make sure that you schedule yourself to make sure you're putting in time to create your art? Because you talk about having something big and then whittling it down and carving it and doing all of that. That sounds like a lot of time commitment, because your music's very, very cool.
Thanks, really.
Yeah. So what does that commitment look like for you?
It's less of a commitment. Like I don't have to tell myself you should play your guitar. You haven't done it in a while. It's like an itch. You can put it off. You can put it off, and the longer you put it off, usually the more it pays out at the end.
Right.
It's like anything. If you can wait for it and ride the anticipation wave as long as possible and drag it out and whatever, it's like the excitement will build and build and build and stuff. So if I can go a week without playing my guitar, I do, because then I know I'm gonna erupt and there's gonna be
and it'll be
beautiful. Then I'll have my big block to whittle instead of I came up with this little 2-note thing and I wrote 4 words.
So you let it build up and build up and build up and build up, and then you explode, and then you have this masterpiece that you've created.
Right. The universe was born in a giant explosion, right? It wasn't trickled out.
So you are the big bang of all-in-one artist.
I like to think so.
Well, so that's safe to say that you're your own community as an artist, and you are embracing community by sharing your one entity to everybody else out there. If there was one thing that you could that we could take away as an artist, what would that be for the people that are wanting to be the solo artist when it comes to sharing their craft to the community? What do you look for inside when you go and you share your music?
Basically, that's harvest time. All the work you put in all year on these songs. If you wrote 1 song this year, if you wrote 15, you've worked them, you've sharpened your blade, you've got whatever analogy you want to make. Now it's chopping time. Is it gonna work or isn't it? And sometimes things in your basement sound all right. You get them on the stage, and then all of a sudden everyone's talking, and it's I take note of that. The first incarnation of music I started doing was me and another drummer, and we had 6 songs when we started out. Mm-hmm. So we could go to the open mic, and then if nobody else played later, we could get up and we could still play the other 3 songs, right?
Right.
And I had 2 kind of slower songs that I thought were really good, and then 4 kind of up-tempo barn burners. And those barn burners, everyone was right in on it. As soon as we cut her back, everyone went to sleep or started talking over it or whatever. I'm like, sorry. Well, probably not one of those.
We can edit.
Okay, good. So anyways, all of a sudden, maybe we should chop that from the set list. But then it's like, you can't chop out all the laid back stuff, because if everything's bang, bang all the time, then you can't appreciate it. a few years ago, I tried to make an album, and it was supposed to be all just barn burners. Everything was just supposed to be so intense, and I'd worked myself into a frenzy before we'd even record, to the point where I was like this, and then I tried to listen to it, and I'm like, why do I hate this? And then it was just too much. It's like getting hit with 10 right hands in a row. All of a sudden, it's like my head hurts, I'm dizzy, I don't know what's going on. I just want to go home and go to bed. It's too much.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to cut it back, but you got to know when you're cutting it back in a way that's enjoyable for
you got to
somebody else.
self-care. You need to
Right.
self-care is where we're at.
Yeah.
You know what? This guy's amazing, and I want to chat with him more, but we will. Keep watching the next episode. We've got a couple more interviews with Shiv. So without further ado, keep watching. You'll see him on the next episode at the end. My name is Curtis LaBelle, and this has been Breaking Notes. Stay tuned.